Next one, when we talk about research process. So research process, because everyone, if you want to do a PhD, it should have all these things. It should match up with all this research process. The first one, what is the first one is defining the research problem. Second one, we review the literature. As well as what we do, we formulate the hypothesis. Next one, we design the research samples. Okay, and after that, we collect data, analyze it, and we interpret. Sometimes we interpret, sometimes we generalize. And I'll tell you what is the difference between interpretation as well as generalization. And last one, what is that is report writing. And here, see, some places we have F, okay, and in some places we have double F. What is the meaning is, while we take some sample design, while we design a research, there should be some feedback which needs to we need to get from the other peoples also. Okay, so that is what here designing research design is connected with the analyzing data. So this is what we say, it has a feed forward is that it serves the vital function of providing criteria for evaluation. We will see in D. So let me go one by one. As we say, as it is the research process, we know all this, we know what is formulating the research problem. For that purpose, in order to come across what is your research problem should be, you need to consult the experts. So that is why for doctorate degrees, we have a guide. So with the guide, you have to consult and you have to frame a research problem. Or else, for example, if you are already a doctorate, and what you can do, you can take a government policy and you can do research with the related problems just because of the government policy. So for everything, while framing the research problem, what you have to do is initially you must have a expert opinion. You have to collect the expert opinion. Then second one, second one is collecting the data. So here you collect the data. It may be conceptual or empirical. Uh, what is the meaning of empirical means? Already the others which who has done. Okay, so that we review the literature. And third one, when we talk about the hypothesis framing, hypothesis. So we will have H naught. That is H naught means it is H naught in the sense null hypothesis we say. And another thing what we say H1 alternative hypothesis. So that also we'll see in D. Next one, research design. Next one, when we talk about the research design, what is the meaning of research design? This is what formulating the research problem. I said you have to have the consultation with the expert. Next one, we do a literature survey. So this literature survey, you can get, you can get the survey done from the previous survey, which has already been done by the government, so that you can use primary data, or else sometimes you can use the secondary. If you are doing on the first time, then it is primary data. That if we are using the other data, which has already been taken by the government or some other peoples collectively, then we say it is a secondary data. So after literature survey, what we do, we develop the hypothesis. So here, what is hypothesis? I said it's an assumption. Okay, we want to find what is the logical reason behind that. Logic means there should be some correlation. And what is the empirical consequence? That is, what is the empirical consequence means we have gone through the literature. So that what we do, we compare with the already done work as well as our conclusion. So for that purpose, we need to frame a right way hypothesis, assumption. So I said hypothesis will be H naught. H naught means H0. In research terms we say H dot. This is HO and H1. What is H dot? When we talk negatively, this is not the reason for this particular problem. If we assume that it is not the problem for this thing, that is negatively, if we derive a hypothesis, then it is H, not null hypothesis. And if we give some alternative answers for that, then alternative frame a hypothesis, then it is H1. Okay, H1 is an alternative hypothesis. Next one, when we talk about the research design is nothing. It is a blueprint. Okay. So what and how and I mean how the steps or else the process of research will be carried out. And when inside that it will be grouped under that is research purposes. When we frame the steps, we will find we will group under exploration, description, diagnosis as well as experimentation. And when we talk about the sample design, as I said, sample design is the blueprint. Okay, what we need to take is that is uh, uh, whether you take universally, that is complete population is taken into account, or what you do, you take only a few people, then that they, like that way we divide the samples. So we'll come across what are probability samples as well as non-probability samples. I have given exclusively the slides for this. Let me go to the next one. So collecting the data. So how you collect the data, that is, if it is fresh data, or the first thing if you collect, we say it is a primary data, that too through survey we do. What is secondary data? The secondary data means already published materials we use for statistical process. And when we come across the research processes, we need to execute the project. Okay, so this is the important step. Only for that purpose we have framed some problem and we have done all these steps. So if we want to execute this project, what we need to do is we need to find out what are all the dependable as well as dependent variable as well as the independent variable. That too, how does this has a logical sequence in a this particular research. That is what it is executed under a systematic manner. And the next one, we I'll analyze the data. Okay. So after executing the particular project, what we do, project is the thing which we do as a research. Okay, that is what I say project. And here, while analyzing, what you need to do is you need to categorize under three headings. What is that? Coding, editing, as well as tabulation. What is the meaning of coding? uh, Maximum in if we take gender, what we do for women, we will give some number, that is for women it is 1, as well as for male 2, or else some kind of symbols or some counts are given. So that is what coding we give as a coding inside the analysis of data. And second one, why editing, what we do, why we edit, just we need to improve the particular quality of the coding, as well as whatever we put into the research, we want to increase our quality, so that we edit. And with coding, what we do, we tabulate. We will come across some kind of conclusion, and then finally what we do, we classify the data under tabulation, and it is a part of a technical procedure. And next one, when we talk about the hypothesis testing, here what we do, the facts should be the facts which we have collected should support the hypothesis, because many a time in reputed journals, why they reject our papers, just because what we have done, no, it would not, there will be no factual support for the hypothesis. So that's why what they do, when the experts they review the particular paper, they have the tendency of rejecting. And sometimes they may even say, if you want to refine it, you have to pay this much, like that way, because uh, as our factual correlation is wrong, how can we publish in a reputed journal? So here, inside hypothesis testing, what we need to do is we have to support the fact which is related to the hypothesis which we have framed. And today, if time permits, I will explain about one chi-square test, because if you want to present a paper, at least one analytical tool you can use it. Okay. So next one, after hypothesis testing, what we do, we come across some kind of interpretation, or else we come across some generalization. So what is the difference between generalization and interpretation? If you have framed a hypothesis and if you have ended with some conclusion, then it is generalization. So if you say that it is a generalized, I generalized, then What if that should be? That should be one hypothesis must be there. And what is the meaning of interpretation? For interpretation, you need not have any hypothesis. Just even a percentage. That is, in this, if you are if you are doing that, what age people are trending regarding, garments of this particular style. Like that way, if you want to do any kind of, comparison, then what you can do a simple percentage bar diagram. Like that way you can do, and you can interpret the conclusion. For this purpose, you need not frame any hypothesis. So this is the basic difference between generalization as well as interpretation. What is generalization? You should have framed a hypothesis, and you should applied an analytical tool, so that you should have ended up with the result. Okay, this is what generalization and interpretation. The last and main point, highlighted sequence of research is the preparation of the report. So even for preparation of report, I can use 20 minutes, but I only crisp way I'm going to give you. What are the things which you have to show inside the report? That is, the layout should contain three major parts. What is the first one? Is the preliminary page. So inside the preliminary page, what are all the things which you should have? That should be introduction should be there, problem finding should be there, an objective of the study should be there. Then what are all the scope? That is, what are all the major areas you have covered, and what limitation you faced. And the next one, what methodology you have utilized, and the last one is the review of literature. And the next one, when we talk about the main text, inside the main text, what you need to do is, here is where you have to show how you have done the data analysis, and what are your findings, and what you give as a suggestion. That is what main text. And the last one, inside the end matter, what you need to do is you have to conclude, and you should have some kind of appendices and bibliography. And what is the mean? And also it should be indexed. Okay. So let me say what is the conclusion. We know, because as we have done the analysis, we would have come across some findings. That is what we are going to say as a conclusion. Then what is bibliography? That also, what are all the journals, books, reports you have referred, you have consulted. That should be given in the last end matter. And inside the index, say, it is a quick lookup list of terms that appears inside your paper, journal, or dissertation. Okay. So quick lookup means what are all the things highlighted inside your paper. Yes. Next. I think, am I fast, or is it okay?
Okay, ma'am, you carry on, ma'am. You are
Thank
not
you.
first. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So when we talk about the yes, so the entire population is there, and if we want to find out some, correlated relationship, what we do, we take some sample. So, like, if we want to find out whether we have COVID or not, what we do, we take a sample of our blood, as well as we come across some, conclusion. So, when we talk about the class